First, I'd like to say we had a former Viking player, Noel Scarlett, pass away last week. And my thoughts and prayers are with his family. I coached him here. I coached him in Dallas. So it was a major shock to me. And so I just wanted to make sure that I put out there that we're thinking about his family, his wife, and his two sons. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
What did DJ do? What did he show you, I guess, these last couple weeks for when the depth chart came out? We saw that he was starting opposite Daniil. What did you see from him to make that decision?
He made plays when he was on the field. He was active in the run game. He was active as a pass rusher. There wasn't anything that Stephen Weatherly did wrong. It was more that, DJ made plays out there. And, as a defensive coach, you want to have as many playmakers on the field as you can. And, I think he helps us. And Stephen's going to play a lot, and I'm glad he's here. But I think the reason why DJ earned the job is because he showed that he has the ability to be a playmaker.
DJ, you've been around the league for a long time. How much of an unknown is there going into week one? Like, you hope you guys are going to do well, but you really don't know. There's just that uncertainty for week one.
Yeah, it's been that way for 19 years, and even when you were a college coach or a high school coach, it's always the same. You go into week one and the nerves are a little bit different than they are the rest of the season, because that's when you really truly get an idea to find out who you are. You think you have an idea, but you've been going against your own guys and seeing the plays that your guys run, and the guys start to understand and know those plays because they see them over and over again. So now you go against someone else, and it's for real. And, you have a better idea of where you are and where you stand after week one, but you also understand that it's a long haul, that it's a marathon. And no matter if you play great or if you play bad week one, you still got to continue to improve because the season is very long.
Andre, when you have two defensive tackles that build chemistry with each other throughout a season, like, where does that show up? Like, what's the value in that? Because Michael was talking about building that chemistry with Dalvin and being excited about that.
Well, I think they learn to read off of each other. They get a feel for where guys are going to be on the field, especially like through different blocking schemes. It works that way pass rush wise too. You start to understand how much push a guy can or cannot get, and where you can fall off of him and read off of him. I think the biggest thing with those two is they're constantly talking to each other. When they come off and another group goes in there, I hear them constantly talking to each other about where they were on that play. Hey, I was here. You really could have folded back underneath me on here, and that's what veterans do, and so that's what excites me about those two.
Andre, Michael was also talking this morning about kind of finding the sweet spot in terms of the number of snaps per game for him. I guess in your years of doing that, what's the key to figuring out kind of the right number for each player in terms of playing time?
Honestly, it counts on how the game is going. I always go into the game and have a pitch count for each player, right? And say, okay, I want to keep this guy in the 30 to 35 range, this guy 25, whatever. But then you get in the course of the game, and sometimes the game doesn't allow you to do that. And the guy's got to be on the field more plays than you had thought in your mind you were going to have him play. And sometimes he ends up playing less plays because it didn't play out that way. I think the game kind of dictates it, more than me force feeding it.
Typically, how long does it take you to determine that for each guy?
I'll have a plan going into Sunday. I'll have a plan of, how many plays I want all the guys that are going to be up for the game. Especially going into week one, it's going to be a little bit warm. So you need to have a plan going into the game. How you want the reps to play out. But once you get to the fourth quarter and it becomes winning time, you got to have your best people out there. So that plays a big part in it too.
Changes throughout the year? I mean, do you find that you're better at that once you've been around a guy a lot longer than?
No, not really. I think another part that's a factor in it too is who do you have backing that guy up? If you feel comfortable that the guys you got rotating in for that guy, that the drop off is not that huge, okay, then it's a lot easier for you to say, hey, no matter what, I'm gonna keep him fresh. No matter what part we are in the game, we're going to keep that guy fresh because the guy that's going in for him, the drop-off is humongous. If the drop-off's not that big, then as a coach, you feel more confidence, rolling more and keeping guys fresh even more. So, I'm telling you the truth. I can give you coach speak and say, oh, no, we're going to do this and do that. It doesn't work that way. When we get into the battle or the fight, you want your best guys out there when it's winning time.
Seems that he's a little concerned just about the depth, I think all across the board. But for you, what point do you feel confident or know, okay, this guy may be young, but like you said, you have to play these guys and get them up to speed and get them those reps. What point of the season do you know that? Is it just a feel?
Yeah, it's playing in games. It's a year ago, that's what happened with DJ. I think he played 10 or 15 plays the first time he got a chance to play, and then it went from there to 20, and then it just kept building and building and building because you gain more confidence. Same thing happened with Amon Watts. The reps started off low, and as he continued to prove that he can go out there and execute and play, his reps continue to increase. And so I think, as you play games and they show you on the field what they can and cannot do, then you gain more confidence of giving the guy more playing time.
Maybe it's a simple question, but how excited are you that Daniil is going to be back? I mean, I know we've talked about him for months, but week 1 he'll be back. What's your excitement level for that?
I'm excited. You got one of the best pass rushers in the league, and I'm excited to see him play on Sunday. Just like I am with all the other guys, but it's great to have him out there, and I know he's going to make a difference in the game.
He drew some praise for Brian O'Neill earlier for Brian's contract extension. For Brian, I mean, I know you coach the D-line, so you probably see Brian on tape a lot. Where have you seen him grow the last 4 years?
I think he came in here as a young, raw, athletic offensive tackle that now is a very confident, stronger, physical, still athletic, long offensive tackle. He's a really, really good football player. And I think it's helped him throughout his career that who he's had to go against every day in practice, having to go against Daniil and having to go against Everson. I think those guys helped him out a lot. And when he got into the games on Sunday, he's not seeing that caliber guy every Sunday. And I think he's a good player, and I think it's all still in front of him. He's still going to continue to get better and better.
Seems like you guys have a pretty good relationship. I know the day that he broke up the fight that was out there, I mean, he came up and gave you guys a hug on the sideline. How proud are you? I mean, when you see a player like that get rewarded, and just kind of from a personal perspective.
I'm very proud of him. You see him coming here as a young, inexperienced guy, and see how far he's come. But he's always been a good person, and he'll come up and ask me questions. What do I see? What do I think how guys gonna attack him? Sometimes I'll see things and walk over to him and say, hey, if you do this, this is what you're going to get, So, I'm always appreciative that guys are willing to take some things that you see and help add it to their game and don't feel like, hey, you're not my coach, don't talk to me. So he's not like that. And so I'm very happy for him, very proud of him.
Andre, Mike was talking this morning about how you preach the history of the Vikings defensive line. Why is that important for guys to know, in your opinion?
Well, I think it's very important because number one, you have a great history of defensive linemen in this organization. I think number two, those guys are watching them play, and those guys want them to play to the standard that they made, back in the day. And I think when they go in the D-line room and they see all the pictures of the wall of all those guys that have been Pro Bowlers through the history of this organization, they see how many Hall of Fame defensive linemen are sitting in Canton that wore a purple jersey. It should mean something to them when they go out on the field that they're representing those guys. And so that's why I always make a big deal when they come in, that I want them to know the history of the Vikings D-line and that we're trying to uphold to the standard that those guys made. And, I feel that as the coach, and I want them to feel that as the player.